8:45. This is the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation. Here's the news edited by Lakshman Fonseca and read by J. Yogaraj. First, the headlines. The President stresses the need for an urgent system to address the shortage of medicines and the rise in the price of medicines. The National Institute of Education says a new educational reforms will provide the student-friendly school environment. The Agriculture Ministry says a urea fertilizer distribution completed successfully. The litro gas is to reduce the prices of domestic gas. Group of independent parliamentarians launched a new political alliance, the Supreme Lanka Coalition. Power Minister says the main framework of restructuring CEB will be presented to the Cabinet of Ministers. Ministry of Fisheries says that there are reports on keeping illegal stocks of fuel by unauthorized people. News overseas, Zelensky warns that Russia wants to destroy Europeans' normal life. And those are the headlines. The report of the three-member committee appointed by the Government Medical Officers Association to look into the shortage of drugs in the country has been handed over to the President and the President's office yesterday. The PMD reported the report was handed over during the special meeting between the Government Medical Officers Association and President yesterday. The statement said at the meeting, the problems faced by the health sector and doctors were discussed at length. And President Ranil Wickremesinghe stressed the need for an urgent system to resolve the difficulties faced by the people due to shortage of medicines and the rise in the prices of medicines. The President also said that he will discuss with the World Bank and the International Monetary Fund about other needs in the health sector, including medicines. New educational reforms will be made to prepare the Sri Lankan students to be able to face the 21st century challenges courageously. Director General of National Institute of Education, NIE, Dr. Sunil Jayantha Navaratne says forthcoming reforms will provide the student-friendly and attractive school environment to support active learning. In the new reforms, attention is mainly focused on to address human and physical resource issues in the government schools. Speaking to SLBC, he also said the NIE is now conducting sessions for the principals and deputy principals. This news comes to you from Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation. The Ministry of Agriculture says that the government has successfully completed the distribution of urea fertilizer for the year 2022 Yala season. The stock of urea fertilizer brought to Sri Lanka under the Indian loan scheme, Sri Lanka has received 65,000 metric tons of urea fertilizer under the Indian Loan Assistance Program. The first consignment of 44,000 metric tons was delivered to the country on 9th July. Second consignment of 25,000 metric tons of urea arrived on 20th August. The Ministry of Agriculture had estimated 275,000 hectares of paddy land for cultivation. The Irrigation Department and the Mahaveli Authority have stated that 100% of the paddy land under the institutions were cultivated in the Yala season. Meanwhile, Chairman of the Dambulla Economic Centre, Shantha Ekanayaka, said that the prices of many vegetables have been decreased or dropped during these days. He said large stocks of vegetables are received at the centre at present. Litro Gas Chairman Mudita Pili says, in accordance with the price formula introduced recently, the Litro Gas Lanka company expects to further reduce the prices of all domestic gas cylinder categories with effect from midnight tomorrow. He said the gas price is revised on the 5th of every month using the price formula and considering the fluctuations in the gas prices in the world market. Litro Chairman further said that the company expects to launch its home delivery mobile application immediately, thus facilitating the consumers to purchase gas cylinders online. A group of independent political parties and parliamentarians, including former ministers and MPs, launched a new political alliance, the Supreme Lanka Coalition, this evening. The parliamentarians include Vimal Weerawansa, Uday Gammanpilla and Vasudevan Anekara, and several other senior politicians. The first general conference of the coalition was held at the National Youth Council premises in Maharagama today, during which the leadership and the officials of the alliance was announced. Leader of the National Freedom Front, MP Vimal Weerawansa, was appointed as the chairman of the Supreme Lanka Coalition, while General Secretary of the Communist Party of Sri Lanka, Dr. G. Veerasinghe, was appointed as its secretary. Power and Energy Minister Kanchana Wijesekara says the main framework of restructuring the Ceylon Electricity Board will be presented to the Cabinet of Ministers by the end of this month. The minister further said that he had discussed proposals of the CEB Reforms Committee this morning. Earlier, the minister said a committee has been appointed to restructure the CEB. Minister also said Public Utilities Commission of Sri Lanka. The committee will deal with the development agencies, sector experts, stakeholders and political parties, and others also will express their views on this matter. Ministry of Fisheries and Aquatic Resources Development says that there are reports on keeping illegal stocks of fuel by unauthorized people. The ministry said they use the stock to sell at higher prices to the fishermen. According to the ministry sources, there are 103 fuel stations to deliver fuel for Fisheries Committee. The ministry said they had carried out an investigation in this regard. And that's local news.
The main news story is brought to you by Siddhalepa Vedamahatmya.
New educational reforms will be made to prepare the Sri Lankan students to be able to face the 21st century challenges courageously. Director General of the National Institute of Education, Dr. Sunil Jayanta Navaratna says the forthcoming reforms will provide a student-friendly and attractive school environment to support active learning. In the new reforms, attention is mainly focused on to address human and physical resource issues in the government schools. And that was top news.
The main news story was brought to you by Siddhalepa Vedamahatmya.
Moving on to Watchlight, the Department of Registration of Persons has commenced issuing birth certificates in digital format. Registrar General Prabhat Abhayawardena says that the birth certificates will be issued for the children who were born from 1st of August 2022. The Registrar General said that the digital birth certificate program will be implemented across the island shortly. He also said that the number associated with the baby in the digital birth certificate will be their national identity card number when they are of 15 years of age. And that was Watchlight. And moving on to world news headlines, Zelensky warns that Russia wants to destroy Europeans' normal life. Energy experts say switching to a green fuel needs same urgency as COVID jab. Aid workers warn a lack of clean drinking water is causing an increase in diseases in Pakistan. And those are the headlines of the world news. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky says Russia wants to destroy the normal life of every European citizen. He made these remarks hours after Russia said that its main gas pipeline to Europe would not reopen as planned. Europe accused Russia of using its gas supplies to blackmail Europe amid the Ukrainian conflict, which Moscow denies. Energy prices have soared since Russia invaded Ukraine on 24th February, and scarcity also remains another chaotic situation. The UK would be paying billions of pounds less for its energy if it had stuck with plans to reduce fossil fuel use. Greg Jackson, chief executive of the Octopus Energy, says the same sense of urgency should be applied to switch to green energy as there was for finding a COVID vaccine. The government said it had delivered a 500% increase in renewable since 2010. Meanwhile, the Department for Business, Energy and Industrial Strategy said there were already plans to invest further in renewable energy sources. Aid workers warn a lack of clean drinking water is causing an increase in diseases in Pakistan. The flood's death toll had passed 1,200. Medical charity Medicines Sans Frontiers said access to clean water was the biggest problem for those trying to find food and shelter. The government met on Saturday to assess the scale of the floods, which have submerged a third of the country. At least 1 in 3 of the victims of the flooding are said to be children. And that was world news. And moving on to development news, the World Food Programme, WFP, has agreed to provide additional support for nutritious food distribution programs targeting children and women. WFP Regional Director for Asia and the Pacific, John Alief, said the WFP has a genuine partnership with the government of Sri Lanka, and their joint programs such as midday meal for school children and Triposha for nutritious supply are some successful models that other recipient countries could also emulate. And that was development news.
Sports News is brought to you by...
With many values that bind us beyond the transaction, we are Sampath Bank. We present your future.
Women rugby. England claimed a record-breaking 24th test win in a row with 52-14 World Cup warm-up victory against the United States in Exeter. Despite the score, the hosts began the session lacking the clinical edge that won a fourth successive Six Nations. The World Cup favourites led 45-0 in the second half, but had Shana Brown and Helena Rowland sent to a sin bin late and on as the visitors rallied. England, whose first World Cup game is on 8th October, scored 8 tries. Jess Bree, Claudia MacDonald and Amy Cocteau scored twice each, with Natasha Hunt and Ellie Kidun also touching down. And that was sports news.
Cash through NSP globally and win wonderful gifts locally. From October 1st, 2021 to December 31st, 2022. Remit a minimum of $100 or an equivalent amount in any foreign currency 3 times through NSB U Trust.
Business News, sponsored by National Savings Bank, the safest place for your money.
Uber Sri Lanka announced $200,000 donation to Sri Lankan Red Cross Society to help vulnerable communities affected by the economic crisis. The donations will be used to distribute food and life-saving medicines across the country. Over 10,000 individuals, including Uber delivery and driver partners and members of the larger community, will receive a dry ration packs containing daily essentials for a family of 4. Uber Sri Lanka said 15 rural hospitals serving over 30,000 individuals will also receive emergency medical packages. And that was business news.
Business News, sponsored by...
Cash through NSP globally and win wonderful gifts locally. Will you be the lucky winner of the NSP Golden Jubilee? 50 gold sovereigns for the top prize winner of the NSP Golden Jubilee. Scooters for the 10 second prize winners. iPhones for the 10 third prize winners. Mountain bikes for the 29 fourth prize winners. From October 1st, 2021 to December 31st, 2022. Remit a minimum of $100 or an equivalent amount in any foreign currency 3 times through NSB U Trust.
Economic News, courtesy of...
Saving money isn't easy when you have responsibility. That's why we promise to give you the best returns and guarantee on your investment. LOLC Finance Fixed Deposits. Maximize your savings. LOLC Finance PLC, incorporated on the 13th of December 2001, is rated SLA stable by ICRA Lanka Limited and is licensed by the Monetary Board of the Central Bank of Sri Lanka under the Finance Business Act number 42 of 2011.
Telecommunication providers say that they will increase all mobile and broadband charges by 20% and pay TV by 25% with effect from tomorrow, the 5th of September. It is reported that the tariff increase is due to the depreciation of the rupee as the operating costs have increased. And that was economic news.
LOLC Finance is taking the power of innovation to the next level, winning 5 golds at the Technovation Awards 2022, leading the digital revolution with cutting-edge interbanking digital payments. LOLC Finance claims the overall gold award whilst also claiming an extraordinary victory in digital banking. LOLC Finance will continue to innovate with the next generation digitalization of financial services, delivering a superior customer experience.
Finally, in the weather report, the Met Department says showers will occur at times in the western, Sabarkama and northwestern provinces and in Kandy, Nuwara, Galle and Mathura districts. Fairly heavy falls above 100 millimeters may occur at some places in Sabarkama province and in Kandy, Nuwara and Kaltura districts. The department added showers or thundershowers will occur at few places elsewhere in the evening or night. Before we wind up this news broadcast, let's look at the main points once again. The President stresses the need for an urgent system to address the shortages of medicines and the rise in the prices of medicines. The National Institute of Education says a new educational reforms will provide the student-friendly school environment. The Agriculture Ministry says the urea fertilizer distribution completed successfully. The lead to gas is to reduce the prices of domestic gas. A group of independent parliamentarians launched a new political alliance, the Supreme Lanka Coalition. Power Minister says the main framework of restructuring CEB will be presented to the Cabinet of Ministers. Ministry of Fisheries says there are reports on keeping illegal stocks of fuel by unauthorized people. And with that, we conclude this evening news podcast of Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation. And it's back to Mario Vijayawardena to keep you company with the rest of the programs this Sunday evening.